Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first time I'm ever doing this. You know me as Manny Mann. I've been a DJ in the clubs in Delaware, all over the state, weddings, nightclubs, bars, the whole nine. But I have a privilege tonight, a very special privilege. I get to interview somebody who's up and coming. You've seen some stuff on my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook pages with regards to something that is rising quickly. It's called Luna Rosa Records. This company is very, very open-minded, and they are house music based. And if you know anything about my history, you also realize that I'm a house music guy from the start. Well, I now have the privilege to introduce to you the man behind Luna Rosa Records. Please welcome Christopher Valle. Chris, how are you, man?
Doing pretty good, sir. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Every day's a holiday, like I tell everyone. And in this case, it actually is. Excuse me. Um, I've got 10 questions I'd like to ask you. We've got a few minutes, so I just want to delve into the meat right away of Luna Rosa Records. So my first question to you is, can you tell us about your journey into house music and what inspired you to start producing it?
So I found out about Baltimore Club growing up here in Dover, Delaware, and then around 20 years old, I moved to Miami and discovered house music. And from that point on, I lived the rest of my life just 128 BPMs at a minute. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
because down there it was like a lifestyle. I got introduced to it, loved it. Just a different whole different scene from Delaware, what I was used to. So it was like a whole different world. And then started DJing just straight house music and never stopped. And then went from
Okay.
DJing to producing.
Okay. And again, what inspired you to start producing?
I wanted to make my own stuff. It got a point where I was playing everybody else's stuff, and then I just started playing around. Had a couple buddies who were producing, got in the studio, and fell in love with it. It was like a big learning curve in the beginning, but like now with the technology and this and that, it's I think it's great now.
You know, let's face it, technology is a huge factor
Yes.
in the production industry. All right, question number two. Who are your biggest influences in the house music scene, and how have they shaped your sound? What you're currently doing today?
Well, originally started with DJ Tiesto back in 2000. Actually, we knew about trance here in Dover, but we didn't really know about house music. So I started with Tiesto, fell in love with that. And once I got down to Miami, I started meeting like the locals down, like Oscar G. He was a big influence. Dirty South was huge. Like electro, like in 2000 when I got into it, like electro was the things, like Dirty South, Chris Lake, like that whole era, and then it just evolved from there to the deeper stuff, darker stuff, high energy. It's like so many genres, and like they just rotate each every few years. Something comes, and you just see the evolution of it.
I like the word that you used, evolution, because let's face it, house music really was derived from disco. And so it's evolved into this genre of house music. And now it's got how many branches?
Too
It's
many to
almost
count.
hard yeah, it's so almost hard to name all of the branches because you're going to forget one of them. All right, that being said, let's go to question number three. What is your creative process like when producing a new track? Because I know you're working on stuff left and right, up and down. And in conversation, you're telling me all of these other ideas that are running through your head. So, what really shapes that new track? Tell us.
It always starts with the drums. I'm a heavy drum guy. All the others, like the melodies, chords, that took the back seat because I didn't really know how to do it because I don't play piano, but I was always sick with the drums. So I always started there. So that's how I start my track. And then once I get my groove going, then I usually find like what vocal I want to use. So usually I like taking stuff back from like our golden age and bringing it to now,
Oh, wow.
or do like an original with a singer or something, but usually I get my idea from that, like taking back some, and then just build from there. So whatever key that vocal's in, and then that's when I start building my chords, and then from the chords, the melody, and then the track's almost about done.
So when you're in that process, are you imagining things while you're creating,
Thing is
or do
now,
you have a set idea before you get started what you want to do?
once the groove go, whatever direction that groove goes, that's where the rest of the song goes. Right
Oh,
now,
interesting.
like
Interesting.
or the vibe of the vocal I pick. If it's like a high energy thing, it might go that way. But then sometimes I start creating it for that way and go a whole another direction. So, and then I end up having to make a whole new song and just keep that song
Yeah.
to go another way with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like in a super creative phase where I have so many because DJing and all that for over 20 plus years, and now I started January like heavy like focus just on producing, like leave the DJ stuff alone and just focus on this. So I have like I have so much music that's in my mind that I'm finally able to start creating it. So that it's just there's no like creators or writers block. It's just so much so much flowing at me right now.
Understood. Understood. Okay, so, well, how do you stay updated with the latest trends in house music while maintaining your unique style? Now, when I say your unique style, let's face it, you are the face of the Luna Rosa Records. Luna Rosa Records is, based on the things that I've heard so far, is going to stand out
Appreciate
amongst the big boys, if you know what I mean. So, how do you stay updated with those trends?
I utilize beatport.com, pretty much the top 100 charts to see where it's going, and that's when I use like the Beatport streaming app. So I like when I'm at the gym or walking around or at work, always just listening. But the thing is, like, I'm not really trying to replicate anything. I got so much create like originality in my mind. Like I don't use reference tracks. I don't really me personally as Vincenzo Luna, I want to make stuff that's completely different than everything else. I want to break the genres. I like because I don't want to follow the template that everybody has. Like it goes like I mean I picked some of the song structure, but then I'm definitely adding my own twist, which is the Miami drums is like just drilled into me. That's kind of where my real DJ life started. Where like I got introduced to all these different sounds, and that's what I like, and that's what I want to
Okay.
bring. Now I'm coming into Afro House because I'm a tech house guy, and it seems like the music's transitioning. And when I was producing back in the day, I was like doing progressive house, which I could do chords and melodies. And when I came back to producing, it's like tech house doesn't use any of that. So it's like it's built on impacts and like different little one shots and stuff. That's how you build the groove, and that's kind of how you do it. And it's like, and then I just fell upon Afro House where it has all those things, but then it's based off the drums, but it's not the tech house drums. So I'm gonna merge those two worlds together and make it my own.
For those of you who don't know, Christopher just mentioned a name in his comment about Vincenzo Luna. Uh, it's his persona. And if you look at the screen, you'll see in the corner there that mask. That mask represents Vincenzo Luna, which also happens to be the names of his children. Also, in your comments, you talked about tech house and Afro house. Those are two branches of house music that are really, really hot in the industry right now. All right. So for those of you who are into house music and the hands in the air and jumping up and down, those are the vibes that are really creating that. A comment that you made before, you said that you've been DJing for 20 years. So that leads me to my next question to you. Can you share a memorable experience over the past 20 years from one of your live DJ sets? What really stood out in your memory in 20 years?
I got my top three. Out of the top two, I would have to say Playboy Mansion was number two, and then the Groove Cruise was honestly my best DJ experience my whole entire life. So the year I performed on the Groove Cruise, because my whole goal is like when I first started, is like there's people I wanted to collab or be on the same like flyer of, and what really transitions me from Baltimore club music completely into house music was that electro house era, which was Dirty South. And Dirty South was like the man, and I was like the person I put. I played half his songs in my set, like that vibe. So like one of
I
my,
still play his stuff.
oh, he's
I
amazing.
still play his stuff. It's still relevant today. So
He,
I know exactly what you mean.
and when he came on the scene, that's like I was a hip hop and all that, and that completely converted me. One night, Hard Rock Griffin nightclub, went and partied, experience, and global DJs back then too. We got that's another thing that made me transition. But when that Groove Cruise I got booked, the headliner was Dirty South. So that was like check mark, like off the to do list or the
Yeah,
bucket list. Yeah,
bucket
boom
list,
boom. Yeah. So they got the video, like the live feed from the Groove. You see me back on the stage. I'm the only one dancing. It's like 20 people, like other DJs, all acting serious. I was vibing the whole time. And then you come back to the boat, and it's like all the DJs, Dimitri Vegas, all those guys were there, and it's like you see them. You go to the buffet, you hang out, dinner. That whole experience, yeah, like 3 or 4 days straight. Probably didn't sleep none of them, just raging because the music never stopped. And then I was on the balcony, so the after hours part that played overnight was literally I could walk on the balcony, hear all that. So that whole experience was just amazing. So I definitely recommend every year the Groove Cruise happens. There's 2 of them. Go on it because it's life changing.
You hear that, house heads?
That's a
Groove
big
Cruise.
one,
Got to be there.
definitely. I
Okay.
think James Hype and
Very good.
Medusa are the ones the headline in this year's.
Oh,
Well, it's a massive, man. And there's no
yeah.
kids, there's no families, there's no. So I did a bunch of cruises, and this was like the first one. It was like adults only, and it was just raging. And then my DJ set, I was like playing in the center of the cruise ship, and then like where the staircases go all the way up.
Yeah.
So people are partying on the bottom floor, and we look up all the way around the whole thing, going up like 4 or 5 flights. People dancing the whole thing, and I'm like in the middle.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
nuts.
Yeah, it shows you the impact you actually have. One person on a mass crowd.
Whew.
And you haven't said a word. It's all through music.
Yeah.
It's all through music. And you connected, and that's the money. That's the money right there. You know? All right, moving on. What software and equipment do you prefer using for producing and performing? And why?
For producing, Ableton 12, I just switched up from 11 to 12, and it's awesome. So that's my main DAW. My synthesizer, Serum, and then I just pretty much use all the stock Ableton stuff, and then Serum, and then whatever little miniature plugins. That's my main on the production side. And I just use Serato Pioneer DJ setup for the DJing.
Okay.
I've been on
All right.
Well, I evolved through all of them, but hit Serato maybe 3 or 4 years into my career and just been on Serato the entire time. But
Cool.
I was doing it before the Seratos too, like when you really had to mix by ear, CDJ 1000 CDs.
Yep.
So from that all the way up.
Yep. Yep. I remember those days
That's
very
what-
well, by the way.
way less DJs back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, technology wasn't what it is today, so it is what it is.
It took forever to teach yourself how to do that one, mixing by
One of
ear.
the cool things about Luna Rosa Records is the fact that you have an open door for collaborations.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of hooking you up with DJ Starstruck, Jeffrey Martinez, who's also a Dover guy. How do you approach collaborations with other artists, and what do you look for in a potential collaborator?
Their song has to be dope. 'Cause I always have that ear. I mean, like before I could even make music or do anything, even before I learned how to DJ, I just knew songs. That was my thing. I had a sick playlist, and I knew what good music was. And if it could make me move, I knew it was great. So I keep that open mind that if your music's good, let's do something. Let's combine our powers. It's all about networking, collaborating, and now as the record label, not just myself, I want to make everyone grow. And like especially out of Delaware. I'm glad you introduced me to Starstruck because my entire life I was the only guy here. Even when I come back from Miami, introduce them to this music. Oh, that's weird. That's stupid. What is this? What is it? I'm like, in 4 years, or however many years, this is going to be your main thing. So I've always introduced them early. So I'm glad you introduced me to Starstruck because I finally have somebody I could bounce my ideas off locally.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, all my friends are scattered throughout the U.S. and different things. So I finally have.
Well, I have more for you. So I'll be passing them the names along and contacting them, letting them know what the exciting news and whatnot.
Yeah, let's blow them up.
Oh, let's make it happen.
It's a
Let's
collective
make it
now.
happen. Okay, so I know from on a personal level, I know what my challenges have been throughout my career. What challenges have you faced in your career, and how have you been able to overcome them?
Whew.
Yeah, I
Starting,
know.
I was DJ Zodiac back then. That guy made lots of mistakes. But I was also a 21-year-old kid doing a Groove Cruise, all these big things at 23, 24, 22. Like, I hit the ground running early. I got sucked up. Like, my buddy Ron Hirsch, he's like charting on the tops right now. But his record label, music group, when he signed it. So I was just DJing in Fort Lauderdale, just like random little spots. But I was playing house music, and then I was leaving the club with some girls. We're going to my car, and I'm just like, that was always my thing. I always had my car blasting music. And this guy walks by, and he's like, just checking out. So I was thinking of dirty stuff, all this stuff bumping. And just randomly started talking to him, blah, blah, blah. And it ended up being a Ron Hirsch. Like, I think he liked the chicks I
Okay.
was with. But then he heard the
Uh,
music. And then, like, a couple of days later, he brought me into No Music, No Life, his label. And then we just hit the ground running for about 4, 5, 6 years. Just every big show, everything. So I owe a lot of thanks to him because he really put me on. And it just happened randomly, just being nice to some random guy in a Fort Lauderdale parking lot. And then that took my career to like headlining, like thousands of flyers with this dude. Now this dude's traveling the world. So just be nice whoever you meet out in the parking lot because you never
yeah,
know
true
who's going to
story.
walk up.
True story. But hey, let's talk about something a little more recent. What have you had any recent challenges besides? Let's face it, the startup
Oh,
of a record label. That's
oh,
I'm sure that's massive by itself. But I'm talking about things besides the record label that have been a hurdle in your career.
it's just the work life family balance. I'm still getting all that
Yeah.
lined up because I want to produce, and that takes forever. And I'm working full time. I'm also an Air National Guard for Delaware. I'm in the military, or doing that. So it's like a lot of different things to use my time, and I want to dedicate a little bit of everywhere. So I'm glad your social media branding, like Anne, she came into the picture, just took over the social media part because I love making the music, but then doing this because now you need the content and all that, and like that would take me 2 days just creating all that stuff. And I'm not in the studios; I'm just one person. So now it's just like the goal is like just start delegating different tasks and still making time for family and so and then launching a company from the ground up. I think this started like March or April this year. Our first record that release was in April, so it's like just building it. It's not bad though. I love it.
Okay. Okay. Now that we've talked about, you said it, the word balance. How do you balance your time between producing new tracks? Because let's face it, producing new tracks, performing live, and managing other aspects of your career. How do you
Yeah.
manage that balance? Because I know what I go through.
Hey,
What do you go through?
we got to cut that. You might have to ask that question at that part because the upgrade now icon is popped up on the
Oh,
screen.
geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got
Okay,
nine.
that'll give me a chance to get a drink. Hold on.
Yeah, we got 9 minutes left until I got to upgrade.
Okay, here we go. Once again, you mentioned the word balance. How do you balance your time between producing new tracks, performing live, and managing other aspects of your career? I know those can be hurdles left and right, up and down. How do you deal with it?
Now I got to wake up at 5 a.m. to get a lot of stuff going. And the kids wake up around 9:30, 10. So I start my day super early and then not much sleep. Because then once they go to bed, and then that's when the music starts happening. And I used to hate mixing by the headphones. So I love the speakers, boom. I want to feel like I'm in the club when I'm producing. But now I got to use the headphones because once they go to bed. So I'm just like finding little windows and pockets when I could fit certain things in. And I always try to combine, like my computer jobs, or my full time job is like computers. So I got my computer there too, so I can knock stuff out. So everything kind of like blends together where I can kind of do
That's
two
good.
things at once
That's good.
and try
That
to
makes life
utilize my
good and
time.
easy. Yeah. All right. My last question. What advice would you give to aspiring house music producers looking to break into the industry?
First step, get Ableton 12. It's amazing. It's a big step up, and just do what you love, and don't don't try to clone yourself after. I mean, you could like reference somebody, but be you, do you. Because even if it's not popular now, you're going to build your following for you, and in 2 3 years, since you're early, you already been pioneering whatever you're doing. Once it hits the trend, then all those people will already have your base that you laid, and you'll just kill it. That's what I would say.
Cool. Cool. Well, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for your time. Um, again, thank you, Christopher Valle, aka Vincenzo Luna of Luna Rosa Records. Excuse me. Um, that's all we have. Thank you again for your time. My name is Manny Mann. Good night, everybody.
See you
Peace.
guys. God, okay, I still got it. I'll cut the.